Good morning and welcome to the Good Builder podcast. Today, I'm joined by someone I'm actually now very fascinated with because we just had a 5-minute chat before we got on this pod. He's a really interesting guy, and I met him at the HIA Sunshine Coast Awards evening the other night. Now, he's the founder and CEO of the KASE Group, which is one of Australia's fastest growing insurance and restoration builders. He's acquired a few businesses along the way. He's under 40. I feel a little bit old, but his enthusiasm and energy, I think he's going to bring me up in this one. But mate, he's built something from the ground up that I am super impressed with. And I am so pumped to introduce to you Kurt from KASE Group. How are you, mate? The founder and CEO.
Very well. Thank you, mate. Thank you for having me. It's a bit of an honor. I listen to your podcast a lot, so it's awesome to be invited on. So thank you.
Mate, thank you, Kurt. Well, I think the honor's mine now. I think after hearing your story and getting to know you a little bit and what you're about, what you've achieved and things that you've done, and just your mindset and the bloke you are. I know I'm not trying to hit on you. It's really weird.
But
you're so lovely. Even your philosophy, we're going to get into this later around how you run your business. I said to you, you're a freaking weapon. So where did this all start? Like, what made Kurt? Like, how did you get into this?
Oh, mate, well, I had a fair few sporting injuries actually when I was younger, and I had 2 shoulder relocations. I sort of just fell into insurance building, really. So I was obviously working on the tools when I was younger. I played football, dislocated my shoulders, had to have 2 recos.
So were you playing footy at a fairly high level?
Yes, I played overseas. I was trialing in different areas in the American football space. So I managed to blow my shoulder out. And then I had to move around and come home. And sort of from there, we sort of got stuck on, I had a 2-kilo weight limit. So obviously working in construction for 9 months with a 2-kilo weight limit after a surgery doesn't really pan out the way you think it would.
No.
So I had to go back and study. And that's when I got a job working for AJ Grant, who was an insurance builder at the time.
Yeah.
It was probably the biggest in the market at that point in time. And I sort of started as a building repair coordinator, moved into supervision and then project management. And that's sort of how I fell into insurance, really.
Wow.
And then the diversity of work that insurance companies give you, you get a hail, you get fire, you get storm, you get sewerage, you get impacts, you get everything and anything.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to what you get to build compared to your regular sort of building. And for me, I like diversity, pretty good with change. So I really enjoy doing different jobs. And that's sort of how I started in the industry.
Yeah, wow. And so you were in the NFL space?
No.
Or looking at that American football?
I was trialing to get into the American football. Yeah. Didn't pan out how I thought, but I'd still loved it. Came back, played some further football here, did my shoulder again, and that was me sort of done on the tools, mate. And now I'm probably the worst person on the tools ever.
Because your shoulders.
Oh, I've just lost the skill, right?
Yeah.
It's just something, if you don't do it all the time, you sort of lose it, right?
Yeah.
As my partner would tell me, she's better on the tools than I am. So it's pretty fair to say that is an accurate statement.
Yeah, wow. And that's just fascinating. I mean, even the American football space is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
I think you have to be pretty driven to be an Aussie and then take a punt. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Because I love American football, by the way.
Yeah.
And going over to the US. Like,
of course,
that kind of says something about you to me, Kurt. The person that you are. You're a driven person. You're willing to go out there, put yourself out there on the line, give it a shot.
It's the same as when you start a business, right? There's a philosophy that I like to work with, and when I tell a lot of people looking at starting it's called burn the boats, right? So if you pull up somewhere, you've got to burn the boats. You would know it when you started the Good Builder. Otherwise,
I said that?
Yeah. Really?
I said that.
Yeah, wow.
The day that I had another business. Sorry, Kurt, to cut you.
You're right.
But, mate, I'm not trying to say we're similar people because we're not. You're much more successful, much more handsome.
I don't think
I think you've done a lot of cool things. But, mate, just talking to you about a few things before this pod, I'm getting so excited for this one. But as you just said, burn the boats, that's exactly what I said when I said I'm going to do the Good Builder, because I had to. I just felt I had to. Is that why you say that philosophy?
Yeah, well, I think if you don't 100% commit to something, especially your own business, if you always have a plan B or a backup, you're never fully committed.
Yeah.
And if you're not fully committed, why would your customer be fully committed to you, right? If you're a part-time builder that's out there working for yourself, 7 till 8 I give you, and then 5 till 6 I give you in between my job, I'm not really giving the customer full effort.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you either fully jump in, or in my opinion, you don't jump in at all. right? So
Yeah.
I've worked by that a lot. I tell the team, like, there should be no plan B. If you want to be in, follow the journey. We'll always look after you. Right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
look after our people. I make sure that my people are looked after. We'll always end up okay, right? But you've got to commit. If you don't commit, that's it.
Wow. That is amazing, man. So you've gone and you've started the Case Group. So that was
Yes.
2017 you've started the Case Group.
Yep.
To your point, what you just talked about, looking at the business and looking at about who you are and meeting you and also, reading the website, seeing some of your social things, there seems like there's this underlying compassion and thing for people as well. That line hit me pretty hard when you just said, I'll look after you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, man, when you said that, I was like, this dude's a leader. Like, if you were going into war, I'd want to be next to Kurt because I know we're going to go.
Yeah. I mean, and that's how we active. We do that as a business, right? Sometimes we come in the most traumatic time for somebody's life, right? Their house is just burnt down. They don't know what to do. They don't know as the insurer don't cover. If you don't come in with empathy, compassion, and want to rebuild this thing and help that customer, then like you're in the wrong industry. For
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
right? Because the customer really needs your help and needs you to be empathetic and be there for them and take their calls and take they might cry, they might yell at you. It is
Yeah.
what it is, right? The person's just gone through a really traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Like help them through it, right? Rather than
Love
put up walls and not be present, just help them,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we're in the industry to do, is to help people.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, we work for insurance companies, but the customer is the end result. And we've got to make sure that customer is happy. Otherwise, we're in the wrong industry and we're not doing the right thing by people.
Yeah.
So that's, and our people within our business is the main. I know everybody says that people's their culture, but our people are really important to us in the group. And we make sure that we try to make sure that they're happy. We give surveys and make sure that they're working towards a common goal. Right.
Yeah.
Because we want people to work for us, not
Yeah.
want to not work for us.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So what can we do differently in a market that really speaks to our values to make people want to come over?
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about.
I love it. And before we actually jumped on the pod too, you talked about a bit of a philosophy, which I thought was fascinating, man. Like, as I said right at the start of this pod, I'm fascinated with you, man. I don't care what anyone thinks. I am. And it's like, how you were talking about like how you train your teams and you're talking about people retention now.
Yes.
And you're talking about improvement and giving them a pathway and knowing they're supported and got a place to go within your business. And I can see why. But could you talk a little bit about the philosophy of how you run your teams? Because I think this is highly educational for every single builder out there.
Yeah. So we base our business like a sporting organization, right?
So cool.
If you look at a sporting organization, look at the Melbourne Storm. They're well coached. Every year they're in the top 4, high performing year on, year out, right? Now they train 5 days a week, perform 1. We perform 5 to 6 days a week and we get not a lot of training within the industry. So what we try to do every quarter is run some training sessions for all of our teams.
Wow.
Right? Including executive leaderships. We do a 1-page strategic plan where we all come together, our GMs, our senior leaders all sit in a room for 8 hours and we go to dinner afterwards, but that's our training day. So that we can perform for 5 to 6 days, day on, day out. And then when there's a catastrophe event, it's almost 24/7 for a number of months. If we don't do those training pieces and get our people to up to where they need to be performing, the whole business is going to fail. Because we have a number of different businesses within our group now, if one business is letting the team down, they all fail. So we really need to make sure that everybody's performing as best they can and we have fun doing it. And that's sort of what the Case Group's all about is, yes, we want the best quality, transparency, best costings, but we also want our teams to have fun, right? And train and coach. And if we're hiring, we always hire within before we look externally. And we send it out to all businesses. We're able to move people interstate to work in any state they want within different business units. And it works out really, really well for everybody.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, we had a podcast. I don't know if you listened to it, Kurt, but we had Todd Carney and Mitchell Pearce on. And they talked about a very successful traffic control company run by, I think, 2 of the Queensland Reds.
Yep.
I forget their names, but they're down on the Gold Coast. And I said, why is he so successful? And they said, the dude runs it like a sporting team because it's all they know.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm not saying they fluked it. They obviously knew that culture and the way to train, and the considerations that you just spoke about, I think, are very important. You know, we don't train and we perform 5 days a week compared to training 5 days a week and doing the one. So I was just fascinated when you said that before the pod, because I love that philosophy. I can tell just sitting here with you and as I said, talking to you prior to the pod, you have got that supportive coach type presence about you, leadership presence that you can see you're going to drive people to be their best. You're going to support people to be their best, and it's not going to be, you know, firing them for a certain mistake. It's going to
No.
be around how do we improve our team and the processes and the systems. Like I could just see that in you. I think that's
Yeah.
super cool. And you're looking at it from the grandstands rather than getting on the field and trying to, get in the way of everyone else doing their job, I guess.
Now, I learnt very early on, you need to hire people smarter than you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. You need to hire people within the industry to do the things that I'm not good at, right? So system and process was great when I could control a business that was this big, right? Then the business got this big. Now the business is this big. I can't control system and process.
Yeah.
But I've got people within me, a great COO, a great commercial officer. Those guys are really good at that. So you
Yeah.
hire people smarter than you. Our investors are all ex-McKinsey. They jump in, they help us out, they train the teams, right? Like we have the best performance culture that there is in the industry, and our
I
team
love
love
it.
it. We all come together. So all our businesses come together in Sydney for the Christmas party. They all talk, they all get along. Everybody has a great time, and then we go back and we do our jobs again. And it's just a non-negotiable for us to make sure that everybody gets together as part of the one team. They all feel part of the team, and that's how we perform well, and that's how we're able to manage high claim volume, high emotions all the time. And of course, burnout is a real thing. Change
Yeah.
management is a real thing, and you got to work through those. And we're doing our best as a business, as a team, to coach people into those spaces that we need them to be. And it's working out rather well.
Yeah, wow. It's the other thing that you've done recently too, which was pretty cool, was the acquisition of Adelaide Insurance Builders. And so wait, first of all, so you started the Case Group 2017.
Mhm.
Now, so we're in what, 8 years?
Yep.
You're now acquiring businesses. What were some of the acquisitions recently that you've acquired? So you're nationwide.
Well, nationwide. So effectively, we started the Case Group, Case Building Group in 2017.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, we started Case Restoration Group,
Yeah.
which was our restoration division. We just split the two businesses out, brought in another investor into that business. From there, we then sold 50%. So it was straight back. Private equity is a long-term hold player within private equity space, which is great for where I wanted to be within a business, because I'm 37,
Yeah.
almost 38 in a month. I'm not ready to retire. I have no interest in leaving the industry. I want to say there's so much ambition and goals that I'm still yet to hit. We're only getting started, Aaron, right?
I
We're only
love
8 years old. So we really want to attack the market internationally, nationally, and just be in the top 4 all the time, doing things way better than everybody else. So we then, they came in, we then created Case Group. We acquired Adelaide Insurance Builders in October, and we then acquired Townsend Building Services in December. So we were very quick. We have a third acquisition that's coming on in December in Victoria. Very, very excited for those guys to join us. They're a great business. They're going to really add to the culture and the team vibe. It's awesome. And then we've got Arise Restoration Services. So across our group, we've got 5 or 6 different builders, different brands that all work under the Case Group. We're all in partnership with each other. We've got general managers of each of those businesses, and they do a killer job. Great example of the internal promotion is Ashley Robinson, who's our general manager for Townsend Building Services, was admin manager for 10 years in that business. And we ran a recruitment drive. Everybody put their resumes in to stay, and she was the obvious pick for us for that role. And she's been killing it ever since. So, I mean, it's just awesome to see that. And the businesses are really they come together, they grow. They're all their separate businesses, obviously, but they all work cohesively and together. And it's a great show of how the team's able to integrate. Obviously, there's a ton of challenges that came with that, but we seem to get through those and work together as a team to get around them.
Yeah. So is the strategy going forward more acquisitions, expanding, or what is it, Kurt?
Yeah, look, the strategy is to be the best in the industry, and we're always looking for strategic opportunities. So we're always looking for people to come and join the group, but there are a couple of non-negotiables.
Yeah.
You've got to be a culture fit,
Yeah.
and you've got to, our values have to align. No matter how good your numbers are, if those two things don't match, we're out. There's been a few deals that we've looked at, and they just don't work with us, right? They're not a culture fit. The values don't align. So we've gone, thank you very much. We're not interested. But we're always open. We're always chatting to multiple different people all the time. Half my job now is chatting to different businesses and trying to work out, are you a culture fit? Are you going to work with us? Can we work together? Can we make the industry better? right? More transparent, better costing, and just better for the end customer. That's the outcome that we want.
Wow.
So that's what we're trying to work towards as a group.
That is so cool, Kurt. Like, and do you think that's why you are successful? Because, we've talked to some people on here that acquire businesses and things, and we've
Mm,
talked to people obviously in my life and
mm,
throughout,
mm.
done a few business things myself. And it always seems a lot of people just bring it back down to numbers all the time.
Yeah, we don't. We definitely don't. It's more about the culture fit, and you've got to work. You've got to have the same values to us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that's honesty, transparency, compassion, raising the bar, like being better, innovative, all those things. If you just want to be the same, make a quick buck, we're not really interested.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
long-term players.
Yeah.
We want to be in the industry in the next 30 years.
Oh.
So it's sort of something that we're very, very picky on, right? And the
Yeah.
investors are the same.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
aligned with our values. That's why we get along so well. And I mean, I've always had some really great mentors in the
Yeah.
space, right? So I think to be able to do acquisitions, you've got to be. So when I first started doing acquisitions, I was like, "Oh, it'll be great. Everybody will just be like our original business." That's not the case.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Wow.
of culture differences. There's a lot of
Yeah.
change management. There's a lot of people issues. There's a lot of integrating tech, all that sort of stuff you don't really think about. But obviously, Javita Garland, who's my current mentor, is fantastic. Right? I speak to her every day. She's a powerhouse woman. I don't think I've
Wow.
ever met someone so smart in my life. And she just sort of has coached me to get to see growth, to be able to get to. It's something I'm really passionate about is self-growth and coaching others.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to learn from people that have done things differently or have a different opinion and they may not have worked in the insurance building space, but the knowledge that they bring in business and people and culture and getting the best out of your teams
Yeah.
really helps us with what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm just looking at you, Kurt, and I'm like, why don't I start the Good Builder?
Yeah.
It's sitting right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything that you do, that whole, like, this is what we're trying to educate the industry on. And I guess
Right.
why I've got you on here as a guest. It's fascinating, man. Like
Yeah.
the way you conduct your business, how you're growing your business, the way you recruit or the way you acquire, your philosophy on how to run a business. It's interesting, man.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
I like it, dude. Like he's freaking, it's pretty cool. And you work with heaps of businesses and you work with government agencies and things like that. I think this is a pretty obvious answer to me, but what about relationships
Yeah.
and things like that in business? What's your standpoint on those, I guess? Or
Relationships are key in any business. If you have good relationships with brokers, loss adjusters, insurers, customers, communication fixes
Yeah.
9 out of 10 problems. If you just communicate delays or you communicate variations or you communicate whatever it might be, whatever the issue is,
Yeah.
everything can be fixed with
Yeah.
communication, right?
Yeah.
And staying empathetic to other people and then sitting in other people's shoes helps a lot.
Yeah.
So if you just sit here and think, okay, well, from me, my window's delayed 6 weeks. I can't help that. I'm really sorry. But if I then say that to you without empathy, it's sort of like, well, what could we do for you, Aaron, to make sure that you're comfortable? Could we put a temporary structure in place? What could we do? Could we put a fan in? What can we do to help you to make
Yeah.
sure that you can get through this 6-week delay and still live your life and be comfortable?
Yeah.
So that's something that, it's really important in any aspect of life. If you just have open communication and talk through your issues, you generally end up okay,
Yeah.
right? And it's the same
Absolutely.
with dealing with your insurance companies. If you just communicate to them effectively and tell them the truth and give them the honest transparency and costs, they're generally fine. Right?
Yeah.
Same with the customer. But it's
Yeah.
when you start to veer away from that is where you get into problems.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically my first is relationships are key in any business. They can help you out of a good or bad situation.
Yeah, yeah. And with all of this, and I suppose it kind of brings us to this too, with all of these acquisitions and things that you go through, that must be like a big key point in why you've been able to be so successful. You must have good communication processes throughout your business, open communication and transparent between your investors and the various business units and things like that. And it's something that I think from a build perspective, and I'm talking about an end build perspective and more the detached residential builds, that it's usually the thing that also upsets customers the most. It's just as simple as communication.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah.
What about you? Is there anything else that I've learned so much from you today, Kurt? Is there anything else that you value, like that you think people should focus on as a leader?
Mm.
that has helped you achieve what you have been able to achieve at the age of 37? Really? I know you're saying 38, but you only turned 38. But,
Turning 38, yeah.
what other things do you do? As I said, pretty fascinated, mate. The self-improvement stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that's good is you got to trust yourself and back yourself in situations, right? So what I mean by that is there's plenty of opportunity in businesses for them to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't back yourself that everything's going to be okay, everyone has those moments where you're like, oh man, this is so tough. How am I going
Yeah.
to do this? Right. But if you back yourself and you believe in yourself and you literally don't have a plan B, then you're going to be okay. And then
Yeah.
when that falls into, my dad taught me once that no matter how bad it gets, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
So
love it.
you just keep working towards that light and everything will fall into place
Yeah. Yeah.
effectively, right? So he ran his business for 40 years before he came and worked for me.
Yeah.
He was one of my first building supervisors and I worked for him and he was very successful in his own right. And then he came over and worked with us and it was the best thing because we had so much trust across everything. So, I mean, for leaders and leading their teams, one thing I think works for me is I run a 1-3-1. So what that is basically you come to me with your problem, but you also have to come to me with 3 solutions and you just talk to me about the solutions. And then at the end of the day, you pick your solution,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Because you're on the ground. I'm
Yeah,
not on
yeah.
the ground anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but you know the answer yourself. So for me, how to get the teams and how to lead them is to coach them and support them, right? And make sure that I can do everything that I can do to support those leaders in what they need.
Yeah.
And if they come to me with a problem, they've already worked out their solution,
Yeah.
right?
And you're helping them back
It's
themselves.
just me saying, just back yourself. If we make a mistake, that's okay. We'll fix it, right? There's nothing that can't be fixed.
Yeah.
So just back yourself. Go for it. Come to me for support. I will support you as best as I can. And if I don't have the answers, I can speak to people that will have the answers.
You know what? I think
Right.
that's I'm not trying to make it too simple, but I almost think it's the answer to making this industry better.
Yeah.
Having good leaders that encourage their people to back themselves and become stronger people, to become better at what they do and more confident.
Yep.
And you get a better industry.
Of course. Yeah. And get some, I think everybody should have some sort of mentor, right? If you're talking to
Yeah,
someone
really.
that's done it before in whatever industry, if you're speaking to them, just bouncing ideas off them, right? In
Yeah.
any role that you're in construction or admin, wherever, if you're just talking to someone that's done it before or you've got a sound, wise advice that you can just bounce ideas off.
Yeah.
And also, if you've got new ideas,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? The door is always open. And if you come in the organization with a new idea, let's run with it.
Yeah.
The worst thing we can do is it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? But if it does work, it makes everything better. We're a better performing organization, right?
Yeah.
So there's no idea that's a bad idea. There's no question that's a dumb question,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yep.
And if you don't have it, if you come with an idea, let's roll with it
Yeah.
and see what happens, right?
Love it.
So that's how we've always been. If I still ran the business the same way we ran it back in 2017, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are, right? Because if business does evolve with the times, get AI, robotics, all these bits and pieces that give our people back to the customer, takes away that back end, then you're not evolving with the times, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we sort of operate.
Yeah. Wow. Mate, it's an amazing. I'm just absolutely blown away by what you've been able to do. And the leader that you are, I think, is the other thing that's fascinating. I've worked under a lot of leaders from Kmart. I know that's not in the construction industry, but I'll tell you what, there's some weapons that came up back there in Victoria. And you remind me a bit of them. They were really cool leaders and they had this really good culture. And I'm sure they still do today. But yeah, just your leadership and your cultural qualities. I think there's a lot of lessons for builders and lots of business people out there, what we talked about on the pod, mate. So, for such a young age, I'm sorry to keep talking about it because you're younger than me, but it's super cool, man. That's why I find it fascinating because I was probably a bit more immature than you when I didn't go through that whole thing. And I love to learn what drove someone to be like that,
I've always wanted to run my own business, right? And
Really?
yeah, always. I've always wanted to run my own business. And I just thought,
How would you
almost
do
30, if I don't have a crack now, I'm never going to do it, right? Because I'll probably end up getting comfortable. I'd get a senior gig somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm just never going to do it. It's the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
And people always ask me, would you do it again now? Yeah, I would.
Was it hard?
Yeah. It's always
Tell us about it. Was it?
Yeah. Starting a new business from scratch is difficult. Trying to get, I remember trying to get home warranty insurance in New South Wales
Oh,
as a young builder, right?
that's a bugger.
Trying to get cash and capital from no bank would touch me. You're young, you're a builder, not interested. Okay, cool. So I had to borrow money from my parents, had to sign a whole heap of indemnities for home warranty insurance. But we got there.
Yeah.
We got through that. I remember starting at a little desk, was probably as big as your coffee table in my unit in Cronulla.
Wow.
And, I always speak to the teams and they say, oh, you haven't done customer service before. I'm like, well, I have.
Yeah.
So when I started the business, I was accountant, customer service, supervisor, estimator, did everything.
On the tools.
You did everything, right? You
Yeah.
have to. And it's tough. It takes a lot out of you. You've got to have a lot of grit. You've got to really, I've spoken before, but you've got to back yourself and trust yourself
Yeah.
that it's going to be okay.
No, you pumped me up, man.
Yeah, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
Right? Like at the end of the day, if you keep going, and then how did we end up? We ended up getting a Department of Education contract to do demountables. And then from there, we ended up doing a whole heap of adjuster work within New South Wales. Then we got recommended to a strata insurer who picked us up, trialed us, and then we got recommended to another insurer. And we just kept growing and going and going. And the same grit and just hustle was always there. My stuff to younger guys that want to start their own business, or guys that are older than me want to start their own business, is just hustle. Just keep hustling and just keep going, because at the end of the day, it will work out. The minute that you quit is the minute that you're done.
Yeah.
Right? Sure, you can think about it, but don't quit.
Yeah.
Just got to keep going, and then it works out.
Motivating and driven individual, mate. I feel it. Like, as I'm saying, I feel like I am so pumped, because I don't pull any punches on this podcast. Everyone knows we're a bit of a startup. We're trying to get there and things like that. And there are times right now it feels like this podcast is a therapy session, but it's not. But like, there are times where it gets hard and I'm like, oh, another piece of content, got to do another podcast, got to do this. Anyway, but like you said, you've just got to keep going. I was going to ask you, one of the questions was, for builders out there looking to either diversify or grow their business, what would be your piece of advice?
Look, we've had our struggles. We diversified away from insurance into a completely new space that we'd never worked in before. And did that work for us? No.
Yeah, wow.
We failed miserably as a business in that space. Now, would we do it again? No, we wouldn't, because we've learned from that. We've learned from our mistakes. We've learned what we should have done better, what we could have done better. Heaps of learnings, right? And that's what I always say to everybody, and that's what Javita's really good with me is, we made a mistake, but we've learned from it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I always say to my teams. Make the mistakes, learn from them.
Yeah.
If you don't make mistakes, you're never going to learn.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's
right.
Cool.
If you're perfect in every single way, and you can't see that you're making mistakes, then you're not learning anything. You're not getting any better. Go out there, make mistakes. We've made plenty of mistakes. Throughout the business all the time. Right.
Yeah.
But we've learned from them. We've now got better systems, better processes. You're just continually learning. And I really like to learn from people that are better than me. And there's a ton of people out there that are way more successful than I am in all shapes of life. And I love learning from those sorts of people. Yeah. It's great. It's awesome to sit down and have a beer or coffee with someone that has built $1 billion business. Like, I've had coffees with Jeff Harris, our flight center of Straight Bat. Right.
Oh, wow.
And he is phenomenal to talk to.
Yeah.
Right. I remember the first time I met him, he gave me 5 points on a piece of paper, and I've still got that piece of paper in my bag. And I always revert back to it and go, okay, well, I've done this. I haven't quite got that. I wonder how I could get there. And then we hired a head of people and culture, and she's phenomenal. Right. She changed the business. But I wouldn't have done those things without having advice from people that have been in these situations before. Right. Yeah. So it's awesome. And it gets me really passionate and excited.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. I can see it. And you are going to pump people up with this podcast, man. I reckon we're going to have a bunch of builders out there. We're going to have the TGB community. Yeah. When this launches, you're just going to hit, we're going to be out there. Everyone's going to be doing shit. And we're going to be going so hard. I have freaking loved this chat, man. And I appreciate it. I am so in awe of what you've done and motivated, man. I don't want it to be, but you're going to come back, please. We're called The Good Builder. What do you think makes a good builder, Kurt?
What I think makes a good builder in our industry is compassion for the customer, transparency of cost, and good quality. For me, it's pretty simple.
I love it. Your philosophies are simple but logical.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you make them sound so smart at the same time. But if we just did what you had said in this podcast, I think we would have a better industry, mate. So I am so happy that I had you on and been able to share this story and a few of your lessons to our people out there, because I'm sure they're going to be very thankful for hearing your story, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, mate. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Happy to come back. Happy to talk about whatever you need. So,
mate,
I loved it.
We're going to have you back on
Right.
There's several topics that are running through my head. How to be a great leader, how to even start a business,
Yep.
the meaning of hustle, like
Yes.
things like that. What is that sort of stuff? And the other thing that I loved about you, this is not the episodes, just a few points that I also loved was I had never had, I worked a fairly, not big career, I mean, in terms of, years, lengthy career in the corporate world. And I never really had a leader say to me, make a mistake and learn from it. Like you just said, that's trust, that's support. I think that shows the man you are. And I really think it's the only way you learn in life is through mistakes.
Of course. Otherwise, how do you learn, right?
So why are we shying away from
I
them?
think
That's why I loved what you said.
Yeah, I think people also get scared to make mistakes. Like someone's going to come down on them.
Yeah.
I mean, like you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Have a go.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's as straight bat would say to me, play with a straight bat.
Yeah.
Right? If you play with a straight bat, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So just make some mistakes. Like I make plenty all the time, daily. Right? I
Yeah.
make a decision, doesn't work. Well, that didn't work. Let's try something new. Right? So it is what it is. At the end of the day.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you can make mistakes and be where you are, we can all make mistakes. Let's make some mistakes. Let's have some fun making mistakes and let's make this industry better. Kurt, mate, from the KASE Group, thank you so much for your time. We're going to have you back on. You're a legend. That was a pleasure.
Welcome. Thank you, Aaron. Cheers. Pleasure.
That was cool.